try and solve problems, money will follow. I don't think you need to chase behind the money and the fame. That will follow if you're doing the right things.
Hello and welcome in joining us on the 10th episode of the 𝗟𝗶𝗪 podcast. And joining me in this episode is none other than a very well-renowned entrepreneur in Colombo, Fathhi Mohamed. Just a quick introduction about Fathhi. Fathhi is a well-renowned tech entrepreneur who has nearly 20 years of experience in the field of business. And he's responsible for co-founding many startups including PickMe, Yoho beds, and is also part of the technical team of anything.lk, which later became 𝗏𝗏. Fathhi, thank you so much for taking time off your busy schedule and joining us here today. So let's get straight into it. Fathhi, you are a serial entrepreneur. You've built many businesses over the last 20 years. What has been your experience so far in building these businesses?
Yes. So before that, thank you very much for having me here. It's a pleasure. Still, I have not been world recognized, renowned. No, I'm just coming up. Yeah. So let's say. Let's say when I start my business or my startup or entrepreneurial journey, I actually realized that when I was in school, then I have been involved in so many extracurricular activities and stuff like that, especially in track and other things. So when I put myself into that, I was able to understand I am good at doing things, and I am good at building things from scratch and stuff like that, right? So that's where I think I started taking up a entrepreneurial journey. Then new things came up and stuff like that. So at that time, startup was not a word. That time, we were looking at how to build businesses and around that. Then have been building more businesses, and it's really fun, and again it's a roller coaster ride, right? But I enjoy being on that, and I enjoy solving problems, and that's what the whole experience about being an entrepreneur.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Speaking about roller coaster rides, now you're building another startup.
Yes.
I'm pretty sure that it's inspired by the whole pandemic situation as well, which is 𝗙cie𝗱𝗹𝗪𝗀, which is in the food industry, and it's operating in Jakarta, Indonesia. Can you tell us what was the inspiration behind this business?
Yeah. So let's say we found this company in the middle of COVID. Let's say when COVID was happening, a lot of people started cooking at home, and they learned a new for most of them it was a new skill how to cook, and they also saw since they have learned a couple of new skills, they wanted to make money out of it. Then they were doing so many. They were trying to market themselves in social media and stuff like that. But we saw the food industry has been changed by Uber Eats kind of companies, right? Like let's say the default way of selling has been changed, and but unfortunately these companies have not been built or not been built for home kitchens, because home kitchens have different kind of requirements, different kind of way how they operate and stuff like that, right? So because they are not professional restaurants, or they are not they are not having kitchens which they have SOPs and stuff like that, right? So that's where we saw there's an opportunity like that. Then we got into it, and we started experimenting things and validating how we need to run a home kitchen. So this is little above of cloud kitchens, and we are trying to standardize the home kitchens and give them. We are trying to run a kind of a McDonald's operations in number of home kitchens. That's the thinking behind it, and we were rolling it out, and really recently we were funded, and things are going good right now.
Right. Why choose Jakarta, Indonesia?
So let's say we want, this company is having, we have 4 co-founders, and 2 co-founders were from Jakarta itself, or they have built really good companies in Jakarta and Southeast Asian countries. So and also Indonesia is the 6th largest populated country, and Indonesia has becoming let's say if you have been to Indonesia, you will see that you will be living on the tech revolution. There are a lot of things happening in tech. Let's say then Indonesia is becoming the major market for tech products and stuff like that. Then when I was moving out of PickMe, also the one of the reason I came out is I wanted to build a company that is in a bigger market, because end of the day you put the same effort but the returns are so high, right? So that is the thinking behind, one of the thinking behind when I'm moving out of it. So then when one of my friend, he's one of the founder of 𝗪𝗪𝗀𝗪𝗀, and he called me and said, okay, there's a concept like this, why don't we do this? I also jumped in and started doing that, because that was the inspiration I had for some time, that I need to build a company in a bigger market, bigger populated market, and this was the right opportunity for me.
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. I think your entrepreneurial career started, I would say, in 2001 when you formed your web development company in your parents' storeroom when you were still in school.
Yes.
Would you always consider yourself to be someone who's entrepreneurial? Are you coming from a background of businessman, family of businessman?
My immediate family is not a very business family, but after some time my siblings got married to business families. Then I also started learning out of that. But this actually came from my grandmother and grandfather. They are from a business background. So I was being able to, especially my grandmother used to taught me little bit of things, how to sell, how to learn, how to make money out of selling, what are things you need to do at a very young age. So that was the inspiration I had. I have been trying so many things when I was in school. I try to sell. Let's say I used to write a kind of a book and try to give it to people to read, and for that I'll charge. I was doing so many things like that. Then towards my later part of school, I was involved in number of extracurricular activities, and especially Interact, that actually taught me that I have the genes of building companies and building things. So then just after A-level, or almost towards end of the A-levels, I was getting prepared to put up my own company, and that time I heard from someone, if you want to set up if you want to build businesses, you need to figure out a kind of a vehicle to build, which means you need to be specialized on certain things. So I was fortunate. My father bought me a computer when I was in year 7. That is about, I think, early 90s. So that taught me that I have that gave me a lot of advantage, that I was able to get into tech pretty early. So I want to take that advantage. So I thought, okay, tech is going to be my vehicle to build my entrepreneur journey. So that's why I started web designing. At that time I didn't know how to build websites, but I started doing it, and that's how the journey started.
Right. So you are defined as a tech entrepreneur, but from the start itself, it's always been tech related products, but now you've expanded even further. What are some of the goals that you had when you started as an entrepreneur?
So let's say when I was trying to do that, I can't remember, someone told me you need to read some books and stuff like that. So I was reading a couple of books, but I really enjoyed reading a book called Built to Last. Jim Collins. So on that, they were talking about how Disney was built, how Walmart was built, how Apple, Dell. I don't think they spoke about Apple, but Dell and stuff like that. Then when I was reading, I was thinking, I need to build a company like that. That's what my vision was that time. When I'm starting, that's what I had it in my behind. That's I need to build companies that lot more people will get benefit out of it. So that was the thinking when I'm starting my entrepreneurial journey.
Yeah. So you're talking about reading books. As built to last.
Yeah.
You are someone who has built many businesses in many industries, and I'm pretty sure you had to learn a lot of different things on the move. So what have been some of your favorite ways of learning? Is it through reading books or learning from the internet or speaking to people?
So it's with everything. Let's say I like to read books, but especially I like to read. I'm more into reading and watching autobiography stuff, right? So why that is I want to learn from others what they did, what are the mistakes they did, what are the things they did, how I need to get prepared for it, because the industries what I'm getting in, or what are the businesses what I'm building, it's kind of a new innovative things, new disruptive things. So there are high chances there are no people have gone through that journey before. But you can learn from great individuals, how they look at situations and how they take up the challenges and stuff like that. So I spend a lot more time in Netflix now. Netflix. Earlier I used to download movies regarding autobiographies. How that was there for a long time. Then I also read quite a good books regarding autobiography, plus new concepts on technologies and new concepts on business, startups and stuff like that. So I learned that. Then specifically for industries, I start talking to a lot more people and start understanding things and start understanding the nitty-gritties and getting into it, and I put myself also to that business, which means I just get into that and start learning the business really well, learning the domain really well. So that's the whole process. Then I read articles on social media and what's going on or things like that. So that is how my learning game happens. So I get prepared before I get into the business or get into anything. So and on the process also I learn on a daily basis. I learn to prepare myself to get into these industries and go more deeper in these industries.
Is there a good movie that you would recommend us to watch on autobiographies?
Yeah, there are so many ones. Like, let's say I think everyone should be watching Steve Jobs one.
Yeah.
Everyone should be watching. There are a couple of movies regarding Che Guevara. I think the before he started the revolution, there are movies about him, what are the things he did and that. So those things you can watch those things, and you can watch about Muhammad Ali. You can watch about great sportsmen, how they got it. Then I would like to recommend Invictus. Then there are a number of it. Once you start watching in Netflix, you will get more recommendation for you, right? Yeah, go ahead and start watching. Yes, go ahead and watch all that.
So you were speaking about the book Built to Last by Jim Collins. Another book that he wrote was Good to Great, in which he speaks a lot on building great work culture, and you're also someone who resonates with that idea. You speak a lot about this in some of your previous interviews. However, what are some of the challenges that you have faced when building great work culture?
So let's say one of the important success for building great companies is having a good work culture, because we are getting into, especially my journey, I'm getting into new industries. I might not know that industry, but I learn from one of the ways I learn also through my subordinates and the employees, right? So which means, I need to build a culture, an open culture, that they also start sharing with me what they are learning, and I also need to start sharing. So I take up the empowering the employees route, which means, there are a couple of ways of, couple of philosophies of building or doing leadership. So the philosophy I follow is, I want to empower the people, give them the right tools and right freedom for them to do things. And I also believe, when I hire people, they need to come and tell me what to do, then I am telling them what to do. But we want to set up certain SOPs, right SOPs. Then after that, they need to start performing. So it's a culture of empowerment, culture of openness, and on that, when you're doing that, there will be a lot of mistakes happen. People will do mistakes, but you need to take it up, and then you need to motivate them to keep on doing it, even though the mistakes happen. But they should not be repeating the mistake. They should be doing different mistakes that they will learn, we will learn, and keep going. So when you have that kind of open culture, people start enjoying it, and I also make sure that I look after, I get into little bit of their, I try to understand little bit of their life, where they are coming from, what is their background, what they do, how they can improve, whether they are in a position to grow, what kind of, let's say, I quickly try to understand whether he's a Jayasuriya or Sangha or Maya. Then with that only, I quickly try to put them into right track. So people also enjoy. Let's say everyone want. Let's say if you look at an employee at an age like this, they are not really bothered about how much they are going to make, and how this company is going to be. Everyone is more worried about what they can get out of it, whether they have the opportunity to grow. So my job is to provide that for them. Then eventually I will get what I want, that is building the company better. So that is the philosophy I follow to build the culture. It has been working really well for me, and people who come back again, talk about it, because a lot more people who were working with me are good friends of mine after that, and it has been working. Yeah.
So I'm assuming one major element of building a great work culture is creating sufficient feedback loops.
Yeah.
So that you not only hear the goods of it, but also hear what's going wrong within the organization, so you fix it. Because in your previous speeches and interviews, you've mentioned very much about being hands-on in a business and being aware of the ground reality of the situation. So can you please elaborate further?
Yeah. So let's say, especially when you are in an innovative and disrupting businesses, nobody has really gone through on that route again previously. You are the first person, or maybe the initial 10 people. You are
like an explorer.
Yeah, explorer, right? So when you are exploring, unless you are on the ground, you will not be able to understand what is the ground reality, right? Let's say everyone will tell, you go on this, you have a road like this, you have a couple of trees, but you can't visualize that because nobody has gone, and you can't talk to someone and get it also. So unless you go through, if you go through only, you will be able to find right solutions, and when those right solutions are the game changers, right? So let's say so let's say if you are not getting involved in it, it will be very hard for you to understand what is the ground reality, and you will take a lot of wrong decisions, and you spend a lot of money, and you burn the money, and then things go haywire. So let's say if anyone is looking at building a disruptive, innovative businesses, I think they need to really get into it, right? They really need to get into it and start understanding, start living that Then you know what are the problems you will face, what are the problems he's facing, what are the problems customers facing. Then you start giving that solution. I think that is one of the biggest success for PickMe. So we were living on it. We were living like how drivers were, how the passengers were. So then we come back and start building what they want.
Right.
We are not building what we think is right. So yeah, so I believe on that. Any business I get in, I really get into that and understand how to do it.
Right. Perfect.
Yeah.
So some of the problems, one of the biggest problems, in fact, that businesses face at a startup level is finding the right pricing strategy. Because although I understand that pricing depends from business to business, what from your experience would be some of the tips you would share with entrepreneurs at a startup level on how to price their products?
So it is, let's say, before coming to the price, they need to understand the cost. It's called COGS, right? Cost of goods sold. So I think any business will have this COGS. They need to start understanding what is COGS. Business to business, it differs, but especially when it comes to tech and new disruptive businesses, you need to figure out what is COGS for you, right? That process has to be happen. Then you know what is the cost for you, right? Then you need to understand what is the GP you need to have. GP is gross profit, right? And you need to also understand. Then once you know that, let's say every business has different GP levels. Let's say you need to understand in a industry. Let's say you are in a food industry. What is the acceptable GP? Then you need to have that GP. Then by that time, you know the COGS, you know the GP. Then you also need to start understanding what is your expenditures. Then you get your NP, right? Then you know, okay, this the product. Let's say the product what you're trying to sell is having this is the components of the products. Then even once you put those things, the GMV will come. GMV is the selling price, right? So then you take in that price, which is to sell. Let's say I'll take an example of tea, right? Cup of tea. So you have the way you are doing the tea and all. Let's say you are putting different ingredients, different flavors. Because of that, tea is costing, COGS is 100 rupees because of the innovation what you are doing in the tea, right? Then the GP of tea, let's say at least we need to keep 20 or 30% GP, let's say, then it comes 130 rupees. Then you have a fancy tea place, and that when you do that tea, it's adding another 20 rupees to it. Then it's 150 rupees or 150 rupees. Then we need to see whether we can sell it for 150 rupees, right? So if we can't sell it, then what do you do, right? Then let's say if the market is not buying a tea for 150 rupees, then if the market is buying for 100 rupees, then you need to see whether you need to burn that money, or how you gonna compensate, or you gonna remove some of the expenditure, or how you gonna do that, right? Then so first you need to understand your numbers, then look at the market and see whether your pricing can be sold. Sometimes your tea is 150 rupees, but you can actually sell it for 400 rupees. Then do that. Right? Sometimes not like that. Then maybe you need to figure out a different tea, so that the tea what you have thought it become good, it might be superb, but nobody will buy for that price, right? Then you need to go back to your drawing board and work on that. So that is the normal pricing strategy I think you need to work from your COGS and come to that. Then by that time you will understand, okay, this is what people are buying. So once the initial traction is there, then you can play with the price. Then when you have with the brand, with the implementation, you can play with the price. But before everything, you need to understand that COGS and GP and NP. Then from there you will be able to identify
the pricing.
Yeah.
So speaking further on this area, you're someone who comes from an accounting and finance background. So you can maybe give us a few tips here. Cash flows is literally the name of the game, because no matter how much revenue you have, you can't. You need cash to keep the business alive. So what would be some of your tips on cash flow management?
So let's say entrepreneurs, they really need to understand the difference between revenue and profit, right? In layman terms, if you're running a small boutique, what I used to say is what the money what is coming to your till, which means what is you're collecting on a daily basis, it's not your cash, right? That is called cash flow, but it is not your cash, right? On that you will need to pay the supplier and all, then you will have some money, about 10%, 20%. That is your cash, right? So if you think the whatever the money coming to you is your money, you gonna spend the money which is belong to others, then you get into a problem, right? So until first thing you need to understand the difference between the revenue and the profit. Then you need to understand the cash flow and revenue, which means cash flow and profits. Cash flow is like, let's say, until the cash flow is there, you can run the business, right? It can be anyone's money, but you can run the business, but that's not the advisable way. It should be the fallback plan, right? Let's say if you don't have enough money if your business is not generating enough profits to run the business, then you do again calculation and see, okay, when I will become profitable. Until such time, can I use others' money to do that, right? It cannot be your default plan saying, okay, I'm getting money now, I'm doing business, right? It cannot be your default plan. So that's where most of them goes wrong. I have seen big companies had to shut down because they didn't understand what is revenue and what is profit. So any entrepreneur, I think they need to know this basic thing of revenue and the difference between revenue and the profits, and they need to be very careful how they are handling it. And some people are not good at finance. I think then find someone who's good at finance and try to get the help from them, and keep the books right. Let's say if you are not really good, let's say when you're running a company, does not mean that you need to keep everything in your head and you need okay, I have to pay this much, and my income might be about this much, and you start spending. It's not that. You need to start putting it down. You keep Excel, take Excel, put the income and expenditure and try to understand what is the component that you can use, right? And also when come to building businesses, some entrepreneurs they say, okay, I'll pay him, but I don't need cash, because this is my business, right? It doesn't work like that, right? Because let's say nobody will going to take you from point A to point B free of charge because you are running a business, right? You need money for your life. So you also, which means maybe you need to draw a salary out of the business, and you are happy. If you are happy, your mind is free to start thinking about more innovation and stuff like that, and business can grow, right? So these are the very fundamental mistakes people do, because they think, okay, I have the business, I don't need money. You can't run like that every day. And okay, for 1 month, 2 months, after that, you don't have money to meet your expenditure, then then the decision will be, I don't want this, let's go for a job, right? So these were the few things I would want the people who are trying to build businesses to understand.
All right, it's time now to move to a new segment that we introduced to the EW podcast, brought to you courtesy 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. This is the rapid fire session, Fathhi, and you are the very first guest who's going to go through this. So I'll be asking you some questions, and without any thought, I hope you can give us an answer.
Yeah.
Tea or coffee?
Coffee.
Mountains or beaches?
Beaches.
Okay. Cricket or rugby?
Rugby.
Laptops or desktops?
Obviously laptops.
Morning person or night owl?
I'm morning person.
Cold weather or hot weather?
Cold weather. But
What is your secret guilty pleasure?
maybe going through TikTok.
Who is your favorite entrepreneur other than yourself?
I like Steve Jobs. I like Elon Musk. Yeah. those are
All
the
right.
guys. Yeah.
Thank you, Fathhi. That was the rapid fire session brought to you by 𝗟𝗶𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. And it's time now to move on with the rest of the podcast, Fathhi. We've been speaking a lot so far. We've been speaking about setting the right pricing strategy, the cash flows, etc. Now let's talk further on business. Now, in a recent interview with Lovi, you had said that what we need to do with the business is find a big enough problem, and then you build a product around it, validate it, and then create positive unit economy. Can you please elaborate further on this?
Let's say when it comes to it's all about the entrepreneur's thinking. Let's say if you want to build a small business or a big business, right? So a small business, it's kind of SME, you know. There are so many things out there. You can just build it. You can learn out of that and build it. But the challenge comes in if you want to build a big company. A lot of people will start benefiting out of it and stuff like that. Then the game is different, right? Let's say then one of the let's say that also will come to, let's say if you are looking at big funding, you need to go on that bandwagon and be a building or build a great company which everyone is talking about. So if you're going on that route, you need to find a big enough problem. What do you mean by big enough problem is, let's say it should be a problem for a lot more people, right? Let's say if you take example, let's say the roadside shop. Let's say let's say every small town or every lane has a small shop, right? So what they are trying to solve is, they are trying to solve the problem of buying grocery for that lane, for the neighborhood, right? So they are not going to be so big, right? Because they are trying to solve let's say if the same concept, if someone want to build a online grocery or come up with a good organized grocery like the supermarket, then he's trying to solve the problems of lot more people, right? Then he's looking at a bigger business, right? So that's the term of finding the big enough problem, right? Then once you found that, then you need to start validating it whether the big enough problem what you thought is the real problem for a lot of people. When you start doing it, you will understand how to do that, whether to change. At that validation time, there will be a lot of changes will happen. Let's say you might think, okay, if I take the same example of grocery, sometimes you might go and start selling online and see, okay, whether people are buying, what is the price they are buying, what are the products they are buying. Let's say you might not be able to sell all the products in online or supermarket, how you need to keep the products, what are the kind of products you need to keep, what are the kind of products moving, what is the GP for this product. All that start coming in. According to that, you will change your how you do the business. That's kind of a validating. You validate the thought process what you had will make a lot of money. Like let's say let's say you can do a small grocery that will generate, after paying everything, that will generate 50,000 rupees for you end of the month, right? Whether you want that or you want a business that will bring 5 million for you for a month, then you need to do a lot more validation and understand whether whether that business can bring me that 5 million. If not worth pursuing. Right? That learning has to happen at that time. Then once you know that it's validated, it is a big enough problem, it's validated, then you need to you need to understand whether it's make unit economy. Unit economy means it's even though it's a word is like that, it's very simple. You sell a product you buy a product for 80 rupees and whether you can sell it for 100 rupees. Then it makes, let's say if you sell one item, you are making 20 rupees. That is a unit economy. So if, let's say, because of how this innovation has happened and the disruption is happening, sometimes these basic things were missed. A lot of people build businesses thinking, okay, I can do this because Facebook gave everything free at the beginning, eventually I will make money. Those stories won't fly anymore in this market, right? So the unit economy is very important. You need to start looking at it. Then once you have these three components right, even the funding is very easy, right? So then you are ready to expand, ready to take up the other things and all that. So this sometimes for some business it takes 2 months, 3 months, but some business it takes years. But you need to do this before you expand, hire more people, get funding and all. You need to solve these three issues before you really go out and put yourself out.
You get the foundation right.
Yeah.
You just touch basing on funding.
Yeah.
What would be some of your advice for entrepreneurs who are looking for funding?
Yeah. So let's say the market has enough funding, right? Even in Sri Lanka, out of the country, there are a lot more people. They have enough wealth. They wanted to put in, and specifically, let's say everyone thinks this, tech investment has become a sexy thing. And everyone want tech investment in their portfolio and all that, right? But this funding money is not free money, right? Everyone want to put money to the right people, right businesses, right things, right? So if you have these fundamentals right, and if you can back up with some good people who are running the company, that itself make an attractive thing or attractive business proposal for someone to put the money, right? So let's focus on building that. Then the money will flow. Yeah. Money will follow. If you have the right stuff with you, money will definitely follow. It doesn't work like, let's say you get the funding, then I will do it. It won't work like that, right? It will work in a, let's say if Elon Musk goes and say, okay, you give me funding, I will figure it out, people will put it because, he had the credibility, right? Yeah. But someone who just after a degree of going and saying, okay, you give me funding, I will do it, put your shoes on yourself and see whether you will give money like that. So it won't happen. So you focus on the other things. Focus on the big enough problem, validating and unit economy, and get the right people with you. Then funding will start coming in.
Right. Well put. When you were talking on the previous topic, you were talking about pivoting as a business.
Yeah.
One of the businesses where you had to pivot was with Yoho, which was very successful in the alternative accommodation space until the pandemic. But then you had to pivot. Can you maybe take us through that experience?
Yeah. So let's say Yoho had a very, it was a business. We thought, it is very straightforward and very easy. But when we get in, we saw it is not that easy as we thought, and there are so many nitty-gritties inside, and we were solving those, right? And for us to figure out, it took little more longer time than we expected, but we were good. And Easter came, that had a big hit, and after that COVID came. Then we are in a really bad situation. And before COVID, if you have remembered, there was a major saga went on with SoftBank invested companies like this WeWork and Oyo and all. Then the whole world is looking at our kind of business models, were like whether this will make money anytime sooner or things like that. Then we also have to align our business to, there's something called path to profitability game, which means we are not profitable, but the profitability is arm length. Right? We cut few things, we become profit. So that we structured our business according to that. After this WeWork and this WeWork saga, the whole investment game turned towards this profitability on your arm length. Right? Let's say you need to see the profitability, and it's a choice after that you make whether you chase behind the profitability or chase behind the growth. Right? So then we were aligned the company like that, and we were so close to, we were always keeping the profitability in the arm length, and we wanted to do that, and we were so close to get into that. Then only this COVID came in, and our runaway was not that great. So since the runaway was not that great, we cannot sit and wait and think, okay, COVID will finish in someday, then we can do this and do that, right?
Very practical.
Yeah. Then if you can remember, after 2 weeks of lockdown, they opened for one day for people to go and buy groceries. Then the whole this thing. Then we thought, okay, but even that 2 weeks we are trying different things to see whether anything is working. We did a concept of stay at hotel and work kind of a concept. We wanted to sell morning time in the hotel with the Wi-Fi, so people can go and sit and work and all that. So we tried so many things on the first 2 weeks, but nothing didn't take off. Then when this happened, when the grocery buying process became very difficult, then we thought, okay, let's convert our app to a grocery selling app, right? So we discussed with the tech team. Then they said, okay, we can do this few changes and let's sell it. So the very next day, it's about 24 hours, we converted everything. And we started, and we also were able to track a good deal with Cargills, and we started because we wanted to see whether supply chain is right. Because that time we saw a lot of people promising that they will deliver, it is not coming because the supply chain is not there. So we cracked a deal with Cargills, and we started converting or starting the business. We actually saw, if anyone have logged into our app on the first couple of days, we were selling groceries like we sell hotels. So let's say how you sell hotels online is different from how you sell groceries, right? So at the first couple of days, we were selling like how we sell a hotel, which means if you're buying an anchor, you will have different shots of anchor. Like how you see hotel images, right? So, but we were quickly changing on a daily basis and adopting. So that gives us a few more months of runaway for us to run the business. Then after the lockdown, the curfews were easing. People started going back to buying from the groceries and all. Then we started changing our thinking, and that's how it worked.
So you were talking about path to profitability. Something that I'm fascinated to know is in a business or the industry where there is a high price competition, but there is also price wars. There's a race to the bottom in pricing. How do you as a business owner or manager make that gut call as to whether you stay on the game or whether to reduce or increase the price? How do you make those decisions in a environment like that?
The rule of thumb is you should not go into price wars, right? That will kill everyone, right? Nobody will make money, right? But if you can bring a better price from economy of scale, then take advantage, right? Then the competitor cannot do that, right? Which means also there's another thing why tech companies get a lot of funding is bringing tech inside a normal business will give a lot of economy of scale, or that will give expand scale opportunities, right? When you do the scale, the economy of scale start coming in and your cost will start coming down. Then you can give the price for lesser than others. That will set up that will give kind of a monopoly kind of a game, or maybe most of the players cannot hold on to it. Then you and another 2-3 guys will stand. Those things will start happening. That's the reason you get a lot of money for the tech businesses. They know once you do it, once you hit these things, it becomes a different game, right? So, this thing is, the same thing when Uber came in, when we are running PickMe, Uber's running for a discounted. They were discounting it, right? But we never wanted to go on that route because we know if you go, they will reduce further because they are really well funded.
Bigger pockets.
Deeper pockets. Then we will not be able to sustain.
Yeah.
And we will run out of our money and we will die, right? Then we decided, okay, even though they give discounted prices, let's work on our other benefit areas or other strong areas, and we were on that. Even though they were giving discounted price, one day they stop it. We know we thought we know they will one day they have to stop it. They can't run it like that every day. They can't sustain it. One day they will stop it. Until such time, we will fight with what we are good at, and that actually worked really well. And I think that's the biggest learning I got it from that also, because if someone is reducing the price, that does not mean you need to reduce it, unless if you can also think like this. Okay, say you sometimes you reduce on a couple of days to see whether you are getting a big growth jump. If you can take it, take a hit on it and get a growth jump, then bring back the price again. Calculated. It should be a calculated game. It is not someone, this guy is reducing, I am reducing. This guy is I'm reducing. That guy is reducing, I am reducing. You can't sustain like that.
It's a literal race to the world.
Yeah.
It's a very gutsy move, withstanding that attack. So apart from being gutsy, what are some of the other defining traits of an entrepreneur in your opinion?
See, let's say traits is, I from day one I believe this. You need to be consistent and persistent on things. Let's say sometimes the first thing might not work, second thing might not work, but you need to keep on doing it, and you need to take a lot of risk. So someone who cannot take a lot of risk, it's very hard for him to survive on this. He will not enjoy this entrepreneurship game, right? So and you need to look after your people. You need to be looking. You need to be feel for others. You need to have. I think one of the important entrepreneurship things what I have learned is you need to be a human. The basic human things you need to have it, and if you have it, rest will fall for you. Rest will come to you, and you need to, because sometimes because businesses are growing. Sometimes because of the money, because of the growth, you might let go your humanity. I would say you should not be doing that. You need to trade off growth for your humanity, because that if you have that basic qualities, what you get it from your parents, your religion, all that, that will take you a long way. Sometimes you might get a small hit at this point, but that will bring greater good for you. So that's what I look at. Yeah.
What does a day in Fathhi's life look like? A standard day?
Yeah. So I wake up early morning as possible, and then my religion, I need to pray early morning, so I pray my prayers in the morning. Then after that, I make sure I do exercise every day. So I have different routines for every day, so I do that. Then have a good breakfast, healthy good breakfast, so mostly towards fruits and stuff like that, right? Then before I start work, I always do a to-do list. I have a book. On that book, I write down what are the things I need to do, what are the things I need to do that. Then only I will start getting into the work. And I'll keep all my routine, all my update, routine works, everything early morning as possible, because I want to make sure I have given enough work for everyone, whether they have to do their work. So most of the routine calls, like the stand-up calls and update calls, all that's in the morning. Or if we, because of COVID, all calls, but other days, it's going to be physical meetings. Then I also before getting into the meetings, I do prioritizing my to-do list. Right, I write down the to-do list, then prioritize, then go to the calls. Then I tried my best to finish most of my work before lunch, then keep the after lunch period to do other things, because when you're running a business or when you're doing things, a lot more other things will come, and you need to start solving it. So our day, most of my day is mostly solving problems. So I keep a good time to solve problems.
You kind of like it also.
Yeah, I like that. I like that. So then I try to finish my day. I normally work from until 7, 8. It goes like that. Then after that, when I come home, I don't really. Most of the time, I don't take my laptop home and all. I try to give that, keep that space, because I need to recover to do the game, to get back to the game tomorrow. Also, similarly the weekends I keep myself to recover, so that will give a lot more thinking to me. So the whole week I should be able to do a heavy run.
Formative week.
Yeah. So that's how I plan my days and plan my weeks. Yes.
Great. What can we expect from Fathhi in the next 5 years? Fathhi and also his businesses.
Yeah. So I think next 5 years I'm going to really focus on 𝗙𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀. We are looking at if things goes well in Indonesia, we might go to other countries. I really want to get that exposure. Let's say when I started my early career itself, I thought, okay, I need to build a company which can go into different countries. So I think this might be the company. I thought maybe with Yoho I should be able to do it, but unfortunately things were not really good there. So I might be more focused on 𝗙𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 and try to take this to the world, and that's what it looks like for next 5 years. Yeah.
On a final note, any final thoughts you'd like to leave with the audience, and aspiring entrepreneurs who are about to start their journey?
Yeah. So entrepreneurship is it's a game of honesty and humanity. Let's say you need to have very basic human qualities. So don't let go those things and be honest as much as possible, or be honest, right? And communicate your need and requirements. I think people who as co-founders, partners, communication plays a major role, right? Let's say you should be able to have any difficult conversations with your partners and stuff like that. So you should have a relationship. You need to build those relationships. And entrepreneurship is not another job. You need to put your heart and soul onto it, and try and solve problems. Money will follow. It's not the money you need to chase behind, and the fame. I don't think you need to chase behind the money and the fame. That will follow if you're doing the right things, right? Then if you want to start something, don't wait. Today is the right day. Go ahead and start it.
Thank you so much, Fathhi.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Inspiration for us all. Like I said, Mr. Fathhi is a serial entrepreneur, has co-founded many businesses, and I'm pretty sure there'll be many more coming in the future as well. So do subscribe to our YouTube channel and follow us on all our social media accounts as we bring more news on entrepreneurship to you. This is 𝗟𝗵𝗀𝗀𝗀𝗀 signing off. Take care.